Hey guys, I'm Ben. I'm the CEO at Melting Spot here, and I'm going to be your host today for this new session of our Unlocking Success webinar series. I'm very pleased to welcome Alex Turkovic. Hey Alex, how are
Hey,
you?
good. How are you?
I'm very good. I'll let you introduce yourself in a couple of seconds.
Yeah, sure.
Just wanted to say we're still very happy to host these Unlocking Success webinars. Just for just as a reminder, Melting Spot, for those who might not know us, we are a customer LMS. We are basically helping SaaS companies accelerate user onboarding and product adoption through in-app academies, combining live learning, social learning, and e-learning. If you want to check on us, just visit our website, meltingspot.io. We are also hosting this webinar series, Unlocking Success. And over the last couple of weeks, we've invited Debbie Smith from the Customer Education Association, Nisha from Gong. You can find all the replays of those sessions on the CS Nation community. We're going to share the link in the chat, so don't hesitate to visit the link and watch those replays again. But for now, it's your turn, Alex, and I'm very happy to have you as you are, an expert in the digital CS area. So I'm very pleased to have you today and to learn about from your past experiences.
Yeah.
I'll let you introduce yourself, explain to us what were those experiences, and then we will go for just a chat,
Sure.
two of us.
Yeah. So first off, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
You're welcome.
I've enjoyed meeting you and learning more about Melting Spot and those kinds of things as well. I'm Alex Turkovic. I reside in the Austin, Texas area. Some people call it Silicon Valley 2.0 because it's where tech is migrating to. But I have been in some form of post-sale leadership for the last couple of decades, really. A lot of professional services, a lot of implementation, a lot of customer education type things. And for the last 4 years, I've been really heavily invested in digital customer success specifically because I've always been extremely interested in automations and customer experience, and the combination of the two is really my sweet spot. I host the Digital CX podcast, which is a weekly podcast all focused on digital CS. That's been a year and a half now. We're up to 78 episodes, maybe something like that. And
you did a great job.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a passion of mine, and I'm in the middle of a job transition, so you'll see some posts next week on what's happening with me.
Okay,
that's me.
Looking forward to it. Can you give your definition? Can you give us your definition of digital CS? What is it for you?
This is a good question because it's actually a question that I ask on the podcast with most guests. And the amazing thing about it is that you get a different definition from pretty much everyone, just based on what their remit is and what their experience is and what they're trying to accomplish with their digital function. My own personal definition really revolves around using the technology and the tools that you have around you, not just to enable the customer experience, but then also to enable the employee experience as well, which is one element of digital CS that's very often overlooked.
Oh yeah, I can't believe that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. And just a quick question on this one: why is it overlooked? Why do you think it's?
When you think of digital customer success, I mean, in the name, it's, people think tech touch, people think email campaigns, people think automatically make these massive assumptions, right? But a lot of what we're evolving digital CS and CX strategies into is a way of helping humans to achieve better results in their day-to-day work life with the tools that we have around them. So that's a huge part of it. It's really turned digital CS a lot more into an ops function.
Okay, we'll get back to this one because I'm quite often wondering under which position digital CS should be
Yeah.
created in this in our SaaS organization? Should it be under the ops position or under the sales position,
Yeah.
revenue position? But we'll get back to this question.
Yeah.
Just to start this conversation, according to you, why has digital customer success become such a crucial pillar for SaaS companies? Is it just for the sake of profitability over the last couple of years? Since the financing crisis actually hit, or is it more than that? Just a context where technologies, data, and the financing crisis actually hit all together at the same time.
Yeah. Great question. And I think there is absolutely no denying that, especially in SaaS, we've been through a bit of a shift when it comes to customer success, where even a few years ago, we were, throwing human capital at problems and really staffing up CS teams and those kinds of things. And we've, there's no denying we've seen a massive shift. And yes, I think profitability is part of that, because the emphasis of SaaS economics has very much shifted from a growth at all cost mindset to a profitability mindset, which is, by and large, what investment firms are looking at these days, is those, those profitability metrics.
And so when did it start? Sorry, this shift?
A few years ago, really. I mean, I would say post-COVID, really. I mean, COVID was a bit of an impetus for that, because it made us rethink a little bit about how we're doing those things. But I don't think that's the entirety of the story. I think there's two other elements here at play as well. One of them is related to the fact that we have this sudden and rapid emergence of new technology around every single corner. There are so many founders right now who are grasping AI by the tail and coming to market with just some incredible use cases. And so, not just CS orgs, but CS orgs specifically are waking up to this, into this world where there's just a rich ecosystem of tooling that is, very easy to implement and stand up, that can have a pretty massive impact on the customer experience. And so, the focus on digital has also been part of this kind of AI revolution, let's put it that way. And then lastly, it relates to what I said earlier around the customer or the employee experience, because, we've been operating our CS teams wildly inefficiently. And, a lot of us are in these environments where our CSMs end up being ticket chasers, or end up being, not really providing a ton of value all the time. I mean, prepping a QBR deck for 4 hours, I would argue, is probably not what a CSM should be doing. And so I think a big part of digital strategies and operations strategies around CX is helping our humans to be more effective, be more efficient, so that the time that they are spending is spent with the customer, providing value with the customer, and really focusing in on those activities that actually help you drive revenue goals and those kinds of things.
Accelerate product adoption. Just as a reminder to all those who are watching us today, don't hesitate to push questions in the chat. We will take them as they come in. So we are live on different platforms, but we will collect all the questions. So just push your questions. That said, thanks for that. And how much, according to you, digital CS can contribute to the SaaS growth in the next couple of months, years, and how much SaaS who are not actually switching to this digital CS thing are missing in terms of growth, according to you?
I mean, I think when you look at some of the recent kind of CX surveys out there, I think Gartner has one, Forrester had one recently. The consensus is that SaaS customers, by and large, tend to prefer digital engagement with your brand. They tend to prefer some type of or expect some kind of chatbot situation or some kind of email
AI situation.
motions, AI situation, like all those kinds of things. It's become an expectation to be a sophisticated brand, to offer those kinds of things. And so a big part of it is if you're not engaged in this sort of thing, you're really not meeting your customers where they are and where they want to be. And so I think that's a big part of it. But then also you're just missing out on a lot of efficiency gains that can be had. And so again, if you're, if you're really trying to drive towards, profitability, then, engaging in some of these really low-hanging fruit type activity and one-to-many activities and some of the other digital strategies that are out there help you to achieve those efficiency and revenue goals for sure.
Okay, so the figure is I think Gartner and Forrester, or I don't know which one is which one, but between 70 to 75% of SaaS users actually want to be autonomous when starting using a new software. So that's where there is a clear alignment between the targets of the SaaS, which is to be profitable, and the targets of the end users, which is to be autonomous. So they don't want a one-to-one meeting as soon as they sign up. They want to start playing with the SaaS and just get the most out of it on their own before they actually reach out if they have a problem or they're stuck in the way they can use the SaaS they've signed up for. Can we just also explain how? Well, according to me, the fact that end users are seeking for autonomy, it can be a risk for CS. And what is the place of CS in the next coming years? Because if you are a product manager, for example, and you're listening to us today, you're going to think, okay, I need to develop my product so that it can be self-service from day one. Okay. So we don't need any CS anymore. We need a support team to handle tickets. We need product teams to develop a self-service onboarding. But do we really need CS along the way?
I get this question a lot, and my answer is unquestionably yes. And for the simple reason that, at the end of the day, your customers are human. And at the end of the day, your customers at some point will want some semblance of human connection, because we as humans want to feel, and especially as between the customer and vendor relationship, we want to feel seen, we want to feel heard. We want to make sure that we're not just a number in the machine.
We want emotions.
Exactly. And so by that very fact, I mean, there are stories of customers who have tried to go 100% digital, 100% PLG and whatnot, and it just doesn't work. It ends up failing, in a variety of spectacular fashion, simply because that human connection is still there. And so, what I think is going to happen is we are going to see great strides in autonomy. We're going to see great things happen in terms of being able to get just-in-time help out to customers when they need it with relevant information, which is all wonderful. But what that affords us is the possibility to then have actual value and outcomes-based conversations with our customers instead of chasing bugs, chasing tickets, doing all that kind of stuff, right? So the better we are at, having a product that's intuitive, having onboarding that's intuitive and self-paced and those kinds of things, it means that the people that you have on your CS team can actually focus on customer success. They can actually focus on driving outcomes and having outcomes conversations, which, I think is what every QBR should be about. Your QBR shouldn't be about ticket volumes and all that kind of stuff. It needs to be about what are you trying to achieve so that your customers can realize that value and achieve why they purchased in the first place.
Okay. If we compare the routine of a CS team 5 years ago to the routine of a digital CS team today, what are the key differences according to you?
If you look 5 years ago, sure, there were email campaigns around and things like that. Like you had an email onboarding flow, and you might have had a chat bot or something like that to be somewhat reactive to a customer. But by and large, as a CSM assigned to an account, you were working on quarterly business reviews. You were engaged in regular meetings and things like that. And I don't really think that necessarily changes too much, but the nature of those meetings and the nature of that engagement changes a little bit, because with a strong digital function, you are now afforded the opportunity to be both proactive and reactive with your accounts in really, really meaningful ways. And we tend to be very good at being reactive when something bad goes wrong. But I think a really sophisticated digital function has the ability to be proactive and predictive around what might happen with an account based on what has happened with previous accounts, and, telemetry and those kinds of things. So that's where machine learning really comes in and helps us and provides us with the insights that either a CSM needs to proactively work their account, or a scaled team can use to proactively engage with customers where they might not have an assigned CSM. So that gets us into a segment conversation, but that's by and large.
And where do we stand today in terms of proactively delivering CS, or in terms of proactivity? Is it just a dream, or is it really the target we're all focusing on, or is it live? Is it really something that's happening, or is it still a little bit?
It's happening in pockets, and there are some organizations out there that have really started to use the tooling that is available on the market to try to be much more proactive. The thing that trips most of us up is that our customer data and our telemetry data is horrible. And I think most CS leaders, operations leaders, sales leaders struggle with this.
True.
In fact, I don't know anyone who has a super clean customer data set. Like it's the elusive thing, right? The point being that if you're going to seriously look at launching sophisticated AI tooling, it is only going to be as good as the data that is fed into it. And so that, in my mind, that is probably the number one thing that's keeping us from, being truly sophisticated. And there are starting to emerge both platforms and services that, that are starting to solve for this at scale, which I think is quite exciting. So to answer your question more directly, at scale and broadly, we're not there yet. Okay. People still struggle.
Okay, so we still have time to switch to this digital CS. We are not too late.
You're still front edge of the wave.
Okay, so for those listening to us, if they are willing to turn CS into digital CS, let's say traditional CS into digital CS, what are the first steps according to you? What do they need?
One of the things that I've talked about pretty extensively over the past 6 months, I've written a couple of articles on as well. If you go to digitalcustomersuccess.com, that's where I keep all my stuff. But one of the things that I've talked about a lot is what I call the 4 foundational pillars of digital CS. Because if you talk to one digital CS leader and then another CS leader and ask them to describe their programs, they're going to be wildly different because there are so many variables that go into building a digital function. That said, there are these 4 pillars that I've identified as being ones that every program should be built on top of. And real quickly, it's having a clearly defined customer journey. It's about having the technology in place to be able to do things like automation. It's having your data in place and having data hygiene in place. And lastly, it's the content to feed into those digital strategies. So my recommendation would be to start there and start assessing how solid your foundation is on those 4 pillars. And I do have a digital CS maturity model and a self-assessment that's on the website that you can see as well, where you can start to kind of build or see where you are on the foundation and take next steps to, start to build that foundation upon which you can build other things. A lot of people ask me this question though, wanting like a quick fix on something. Let's say you have nothing in place. The thing that I always tell people to start with is office hours. If you don't have office hours in place, it takes minimal tech, and you probably already have the tech. It takes minimal headcount to get started. It's right there, where your customers are, and it provides massive, massive value with very minimal effort. So if you don't already have office hours in place, do that today.
What kind of value does it provide? What kind of value can you get from office hours?
I mean, it is one of the best and easiest to stand up one-to-many motions, because not only are you answering your customers' questions directly in an open forum where other customers can benefit from it, it also helps your brand reputation and helps you, be seen as somebody who's, forward in their customer engagement. It helps your product teams to hear feedback from customers. So there's all kinds of different things, positive things that can come out of office hours.
Yeah, and it's not too complicated.
It's
indeed.
not at all. Yeah.
Okay, cool. When talking about digital CS, I heard a lot of people saying, I'm scared about digital CS because I'm gonna kind of compromise on the quality of the CS, on the level of personalization I can bring to my customers, because it's all about digital automations, AI, data. So that's all very interesting. But in the end, it might actually lead to a lack of personalization. What do you think of that? Do you think you can still be very personalized and digital at the same time?
There's no doubt you can absolutely do it. And I think it's a spectrum. On one end of the spectrum, you have no data to be able to support personalization in your digital motions, but you can still push out some digital motions that apply to all your customers and maybe all of your personas within the customer. But then you use your humans for that personalization and that follow-up and that engagement post that digital motion. On the other end of the spectrum, you have squeaky clean data. You know exactly where your customers are in your journey. You know which personas are within your customer. You know what health of their usage is, and you can really get into personalizing your digital motions. But the human element doesn't get removed from the equation. It just means your humans will be more informed to engage the right way. For example, if you know that your customer's usage on a particular module is dropping off, you may launch a digital motion for that particular customer, and maybe even a specific persona, the ops, or admin persona. But then, as part of that digital automation, you're going to put in, stopping points along the way where you're going to ask one of your CSMs or digital CSMs or scaled CSMs to go and check in with the customer and actually have a conversation with the customer. So, the human element I think is always there as part of a healthy digital motion to provide some of that personalization. The rest of it and how personalized you are in the digital motion all depends on your data cleanliness.
So it's very similar to what we actually lived 10 years ago, when the digital marketing, or when the marketing actually switched from traditional to digital.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of revolution we are up to in the CS industry at the moment, right?
I totally. In a way, we are way behind where marketing was and where product was, years ago. But we have the benefit of leveraging a lot of those lessons learned. The
So we're
problem
going to
is,
be fast.
yeah, but the problem is we tend to be in our own little bubble, and we tend to be in our CS bubble and not kind of
Okay.
get out there. So your marketing function can actually be your best friend if you get over the differences.
Okay. So under which function should CS stand in our organization? We're going to share an interesting article from Jason Lemkin, the founder at SaaStr. He said, "The end of customer success as we this is the end of the customer success as we knew it." And he's not being very positive about it, because he's basically saying customer success is now more and more under the sales function, meaning that they're more and more interested in selling, and so this is clearly a compromise over the quality and the value brought to the customer. Should it be under the marketing function, or function itself? I don't know. What do you think in terms of organization? Where should CS stand in this
I
organization?
feel like we are in this, to borrow an American expression, guardrail to guardrail scenario, where we've gone to one extreme where we have, CS teams, CCOs, lots and lots of CSMs, proliferation of a ton of CSPs and all that kind of stuff. And now, it's swinging pretty hard the other way, where you see an absorption of these kinds of things into sales orgs, into marketing orgs, and things like that. I think and invariably it has to swing the other way, in some sort of middle ground where there is a customer organization, there is, room for CSMs within an organization. I think the alignment between organizations is invariably going to have to become like a center point. And I think this is where digital leads, because as a digital CS leader, I have had to really focus on my cross-functional engagements with product, with marketing, with sales, with operations, with finance. The digital motion touches all of those functions very, very directly. And so, when people ask me what I hire for in digital CS, and specifically digital CS leadership, it's that cross-functional gene. And are you able to operate cross-functionally? And I think that very much speaks to what we need to do as CS orgs as well, is to really focus on those cross-functional relationships and be the stewards of the customer journey and customer experience that way.
Isn't that the role of what we call CS ops?
Mm-hmm.
To be kind of cross-functional.
And in some organizations, that is revenue ops, that sits in sales. In some organizations, it's in IT. So there's a big fat depends on all of this stuff.
Okay, cool. We have another 2-3 minutes to go. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you if you have some preferred tools to recommend to our friends here.
Yep.
If they are willing to launch, to switch again from traditional to digital CS, what do they need in terms of stack?
Well, they need an excellent LMS like Melting Spot first.
Thanks for that. So they need an LMS. A customer LMS, actually, I think.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between employee and customer LMS. But anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Another story.
I'll start by saying this. The tool is usually the first place people go when they start thinking about digital, when in reality, the tool should be the last thing that you solve for.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The first thing to solve for is that customer journey, is what your existing data looks like, is what content you have and what content you need. you need to solve for a lot of that, and then look at what technology do I need to support the strategy that I want to build. That out of the way. A lot of organizations in the past have been focused heavily on centralizing their digital and their CS functions through some sort of CSP, whether that's a Gainsight or a TurnZero or a Vitally or whatever, and I think that still makes sense as a point of automation, but ultimately you're going to need some way to automate things. A lot of organizations have seen a lot of success with just simply using something like Zapier or make.com to integrate all of the existing systems that they have. I think tools that can help you engage in product, if you're a SaaS platform, is one of the things that probably drives, just a massive part of success in digital, is being able to engage in product. You might look at something like a Pendo for that. There are like tons and tons of different tools that are popping up out of the woodworks, doing all kinds of interesting things. And I actually have a digital customer success tech stack page on digitalcustomersuccess.com.
Okay.
Where you can go get a laundry list of different tools that you might want to look at.
Okay. One last question, and we'll have to stop. But the main or pitfalls you should avoid when talking about digital CS. So avoid starting with the tools.
Honestly, that's a huge one. That's a big one. And I would say, taking that a step further, don't automate something for the sake of automating it. Every automation should be run manually first. Figure out where the problems lie by doing it manually first, so that you're not stuck in this situation where you've automated something that doesn't work and you've wasted a lot of time, and you just have to
same as marketing.
Yeah, exactly.
Or growth. This is going to be really my last question, but I keep hearing I could keep speaking for the next 2 hours until your lunch, actually. I keep hearing content is a problem for digital CS teams because it's complicated. They're not used to produce content.
Yes.
And I have at the same time the feeling there is a lot of content available out there. I mean, in the SaaS itself and in the market, they have marketing content, they have product marketing content. So it seems like they're scared about something that is already available. What do you think?
I agree. Content tends to be a massive barrier, and I think it's primarily a mental barrier. I've advised quite a few leaders on a strategy of content curation, which you go from one extreme to the other. One extreme is you're building everything by yourself, and it's a massive, overwhelming task and all that kind of stuff. The other extreme is that you're sourcing content from everywhere else, but that leaves you with some content gaps. My recommendation has always been engage someone on the team to own content curation, analyze what content is available from product marketing, from the education team, from sales, from wherever. Try to pull those together. And then, you're probably going to want to create a way to unify that content, make it feel similar, make it flow, maybe provide an overarching, kind of structure for that content to sit within, to make it a good customer experience. That tends to work out the best, but the content is, largely there. You just may have to supplement it with a little bit more to meet your need. Okay.
Do you have any articles on your website talking about content?
Not about content, but I need to do that.
Next one. Okay, we'll have to stop now. It's been a pleasure, Alex, to discuss with you. I guess you can be reached on LinkedIn. Or
LinkedIn is great. It's just Alex Turkovic, and then digitalcustomersuccess.com
website.
And it's just alex@digitalcustomersuccess.com if you want to
Okay,
email me.
easy. We'll
Yep.
share this email in the chat as well. Thanks for that. Thanks a lot for your time and
Thank
all
you.
these tips you shared with us. We'll be live with another great speaker in a couple of weeks, Vicky Kennedy. You might know her, Alex. She's a customer education expert. She's still very renowned on the US market, but I'm sure she will have plenty to learn and to teach to our European audience. So see you in a couple of weeks. Alex, talk to you very soon. Have a great week and start in your new position in the next couple of weeks. But we'll have plenty of time to discuss this later.
Yep. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Bye to everyone and see you for the next Unlocking Success webinar. Bye.